Um, I guess over time we got better at music production by trying to do it wrong.
Sure.
And yeah, the whole goal, all of our inspiration is just like what would be the funniest thing we could do, or what would be the most entertaining thing we could do at this point. So
Hello, and welcome back to this week's episode of the TF Cast. I am your host, Willis Stout.
Hey, Grum here at the table. It is February 1st, and we are here in the solarium.
And I'm your host, Jacob Bases. Today with us, we have Kelvin Porter, who is here to talk about his band, Bejalvin, his DJ project, and just some music industry stuff. You're a student at MSU. Calvin, if you just want to kind of like introduce yourself to the audience and let us know what the first thing on your mind is.
yeah, hi everyone. Great start. Hi everyone. My name's Calvin Porter. I'm a sophomore at MSU Mankato, going for a music industry degree. I'm also a DJ, music producer. This is the first podcast I've ever been on, so I'm a bit intimidated, but exciting. Yeah.
Well,
What have you been working on most recently? What's been the project that's got you excited?
Yeah, so for the duo I'm in, the cybergrind duo Bejalvin with my friend Jake, we just released an album called Bejible, our second album. It's been doing really well, way better than we expected, gaining some popularity in the small cybergrind community, which I can talk about later. But
sure. Yeah, actually, maybe I hadn't heard of the band before we just like quickly auditioned it, and I had a great time. I was smiling ear to ear and laughing with how do you say? I was like
Glee.
A laugh of appreciation. It was glee. It was glee. But you should explain what that genre is to the people who may be unfamiliar.
Sure. So I'm actually kind of new to the community, so I hope I don't butcher this, but cybergrind is just a general term for any combination of electronic music and metal music, I'm pretty sure.
Sure.
Yeah, so I love EDM. Jake, the other guy, also loves EDM and metal, and we just combined our weird Gen Z senses of humor with all of that and made some really loud music that moms don't like.
That was the first thing I said. I said, my mom would not like this. Which
she
is
doesn't
fun.
like me either, so it's
Oh, don't say that. She loves you, Zach.
I know.
Yeah, and there was other things in there too. Like I think the first song, the track that I listened to was Brain
Cremation.
Cremation. There was some like really
it's even
like
grindcore names. I
hard cut to like some really non-distorted instrumental stuff in there. Like, how are you coming up with these ideas? What are your influences?
Oh, influences. Well, the whole thing kind of started as a middle school SoundCloud page that didn't end like they're all supposed to. And our goal was just to make the worst music possible. And it just kept evolving till we put like a little bit more effort into it. I guess over time we got better at music production by trying to do it wrong.
Sure.
And yeah, the whole goal, all of our inspiration is just like what would be the funniest thing we could do, or what would be the most entertaining thing we could do at this point. So
yeah, and I mean I've heard some of those things, like the heavily distorted kind of like drum tracks, or even like I can't, like, what's a good example of someone hard cutting like that to a different kind of like instrumental? Like Mr. Bungle does stuff like that sometimes, I feel like, on like the Disco Volante album.
That's the only band I could think of as well.
Yeah, that was really cool and fun.
I've seen actual like grindcore bands cut to like a backing track of something like really light and then go back into it, like a Kelly Clarkson song or something like that, and then just right back to.
Yeah, but imagine that's just like such a cool way to fail. Like you went out to do something bad, and then you made something fun and cool.
That's a very good way to put it.
like, what are you going to do with the project now that you're experiencing a little bit of a day in the sun?
So we're working on physical releases right now. We did a cassette tape pre-order that sold out in a few days, which is awesome and
Cool.
crazy.
Congrats.
And this Friday, as we're recording this, is Bandcamp Friday, and we're going to be doing a vinyl record pre-order.
Oh, sure.
Cool.
So yeah, that's a dream come true for us to put our weird music on like physical media.
Yeah. Is that a big part of the community? Is there like a cassette culture that goes through there?
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know when I was first introduced to the metal community that cassettes were such a big deal, but I think it's just because it's like the cheapest way to make physical media that's just different than like a CD, because like a CD is still a digital file, but cassette, you can like put it in a tiny speaker that sounds really distorted and bad, but that's the whole appeal.
I mean, I do think a big part of it too is it's just a widget. You know, people like want something that you can own, like from the band. But like most of the time, I don't think people play them a whole bunch. You know, it's just a great way to package your download code, and you can get cassettes for like, I think you can get them printed for. I mean, you could tell us like what, a couple bucks a cassette.
Something like that. It's pretty cheap, and it's so customizable too, because you can put the whole J card in there and put things on the front and the back. And
Yeah. I've actually just recently here gotten into picking up some of the cassettes that that they're selling from Round Bale at the
Toontown?
Toontown. Yeah, like they had a whole section there. You can just pick up Round Bale cassettes and just grab one, and they're like $4 or $5, and I've only had one that I didn't like so far. And I didn't even hate it. It was great.
Maybe you can get a couple hosted at the local Toontown spot.
that would be a great idea. I don't know why I didn't think about that, but I should definitely reach out.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Toontown, it's interesting trying to think about connecting those local retailers with like local music, because I've never produced a physical format myself, but always kind of thought it'd be fun. Actually, cassette seems like an awesome way to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that we should just take some of our like the recordings that we've made on Triple Falls and make like a mixtape cassette and just sell like 30 of them. I think that people
That'd be
would buy them. Shout out in the comments if you want to buy a mixtape cassette from Triple Falls. But anyways, back to you.
I'll buy one.
Yeah, what kind of music do you DJ? Is it like very similar to this kind of stuff that you play?
Much more EDM. Just like I love heavy EDM, like dubstep, rhythm, all the cringe words. Yeah, I like really fast stuff like drum and bass. I like mashups a lot. I like making mashups. That's one thing I like to do. That's one of the things I like about DJing is combining existing songs into new things.
And so all this started like before you went into the music industry program. Like that's where, you know, you wanting to do this is what led you there. And like, has that changed your like what you're doing at all?
Yeah, it's opened my mind a lot to like local opportunities and just how to start small, like meeting people and reaching out to people around you. And also, there are just so many, it made me realize how many people have like normal day jobs and then keep music a hobby too, which that's like the opposite thing I would have expected to take from the music industry program is like the idea of getting a normal job and keeping music as a hobby. But it's kind of made me realize how many options there are and that I don't have to decide now.
Well, I do think a big thing you just learn from spending any time around musicians is that, like, it's kind of like art. Like, there's a little bit of music in everyone in a big way. And once you've practiced it, like, you can't just turn it on and off. Like, it just stays with you. But that said, I would say, like, probably a third of Mankato's music scene who's, like, out constantly is MSU professors. You know?
There's a lot.
Like, we know how many do we know? Like, 15, I swear.
Good
There's
handful.
like whole professor bands.
What's the program been like? Like, what have you have you liked about it that you maybe thought you wouldn't, or kind of found quirky that you know?
My favorite part has been meeting the other students in it. Made a lot of friends and keep making new friends every semester when I have new classes with different people. And I just like to hear where they came from and what they're trying to do. There are very few other people who are into EDM like me. I've met a couple, which is awesome, but um, it's it's just such a great opportunity to meet other people my age and hear what crazy things they're trying to do.
Cool.
Sure. You said a little bit earlier that one of the things that you learned was that you should like reach out to like local things. Can you give some examples? I mean, apart from, or if like that's what you're talking about, like with some of the stuff you've done with us, but like what are some examples of doing that and like what things have you come across here?
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess the first one was when I met Andrew Luster in one of my classes. He was giving a presentation about what he does and what he'd like to do as a job. And he was the first person I heard from at MSU that said they DJ, and that like caught me off guard. I was like, whoa, another DJ? I need to meet him and talk to him. So I talked to him after class. He introduced me to you guys and Triple Falls and other Mankato DJs, and then that's how I kind of met you guys and got into all this stuff. But I guess I've also reached out to professors specifically about what I want to do. So like I've become a studio assistant at MSU because I asked, and I also started a DJ club at MSU. Talked to my professors, said that was something I was interested in, and asked them for like advice and resources on how to get that started. And we're actually making progress on that this semester. We've ordered some DJ controllers, and I just want to collect all of the students at MSU who are also DJs and give them opportunities to play like I've been able to do.
What has that response been like? Have you found like dozens, or I mean, there has to be like 100+ DJs in the MSU student body. I would imagine that it's more than you want to know about. Like,
It's a really good handful.
I hope so. We haven't really advertised it yet because we've still been collecting resources for it. But I know at least around 10 people who want to learn at least, because I'm sure there are much more people that want to learn how to DJ than there are that already know how to DJ.
I feel like DJing is becoming a skill like typing. Like, I know like so many DJs,
Yeah.
and then
Maybe or like what's another good one for that people like need or want at social things, like a bartender, like
or-
bartending.
Yeah, running a soundboard is actually a pretty good one to just have.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I knew as many sound guys as I knew DJs.
Right.
Yeah. What brought you to Mankato? What was what's your tie here, or what made you pick Mankato as a school to come to?
Yeah, I was comparing a lot of schools across the country, and it kind of just came down to that I needed a cheaper option to go to, and Mankato is very close to where I live, so I can just go home on weekends, which is great for concerts, spending time with family, just going home to do my laundry, stuff like that. But it's the closest, cheapest school for me, and I thought to myself, well, I'm only going to be here for 4 years, or attending school for 4 years, so probably don't need to put my entire life savings into it if I can avoid it.
Sure. You mentioned going back up, presumably to the cities for concerts. Like, what kind of like Minnesota music or like traveling through acts have been interesting to you?
Yeah, I like EDM, heavy music, stuff like that. So I go to the Skyway a lot, the Loft, the Armory. My friends have been getting me into the small local metal community here, which those have been my favorite shows. I would have never like known those were happening without the friends that brought me there. So venues like Cadence Records, Underground Music Cafe, Los Campeones Gym. Is like a CS Jam, a big metal festival in a gym. That's been one of my favorite shows I've been to in the past year. Yeah.
Cool.
What? So, as a person who really, you said you've been spending time like the EDM community up there. What would appeal to you in a like a mid-size, like if you were gonna like listen to EDM or like attend an EDM show in Mankato, like what would be the thing that like was like, I'm gonna stay here this weekend? Like what would attract you to that? Like what are you looking for in a venue? Because we don't really have that type of venue here so much.
That's a loaded question. I like the production, like big or like lots of lights and stuff. That always attracts me, which you guys are doing a pretty good job at. You got lasers and stuff now. I think also one of the biggest things that stopped me from going to shows in Mankato is the age requirement. Because
Sure.
a lot of places are also bars, so you need to be 21 plus. So some more all ages venues in Mankato would be awesome, because then I could go there, perform there, and also advertise it to other students and my friends.
Right on. Yeah, I always kind of like forget that we only have one or two of those kind of places. And that, I mean, it is really great that we have them now, you know, because I feel like, you know, high school kids starting bands and like doing those things is what ends up, I mean, that's how you got here, you know, like had you not, like, do you think you would be in the same situation you are now?
Oh, no, not at all. Yeah, having someone else to work with is totally the reason I'm still going, because just having someone else to like send ideas back and forth to and know that they're always they'll always like help you out and be there.
Yeah. So also like you said it was a little bit of a loaded question, but like is it, how much of it is the production? Like when someone comes through, like it was like a big deal that Excision was around last week, I guess, or whatever. But like, you know, how much of that is like the devotion to that person's DJ, or is it like the production that draws people to that?
For me specifically, the two biggest things are just if I like the artist's music, obviously. If I really like an artist's music, I'll definitely make sure to try to go to that. But also the production is a huge part. Like Gareth Emery just came to the Armory, and I don't listen to his music a lot, but the show was Laser City, and it was advertised as one of the biggest laser productions in the company, in the country, and that's kind of single-handedly what made me go to that.
Oh, really? What was it like? Where they like draw laser patterns in like 3D space or whatever?
Not really. They just had a lot of lasers.
Just goes green and it's like everywhere. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, because we've kind of like struggled with that a little bit, like trying to like say like, hey, like we're gonna bring all of this stuff. Like, how do we tell people that we're doing it, you know, and differentiate it, you know, from another thing.
Are there any Minnesota DJs that you're into right now, or anything like that?
Minnesota DJs. I don't have any names, but Slam Academy they've helped me out a lot. They're a electronic music school in Minneapolis.
Oh.
That's where I learned how to DJ. I took a week-long course in high school, and I've kept up with them ever since. And back in November, they announced they were having a member party that was like free to the public, and they were looking for DJs. So I offered to DJ there, and I'd kind of lost touch with the Slam Academy community since then, but they have so many DJs connected to them because they teach them there. And
I think Andrew graduated from there.
I think so too. Yeah,
he did a class or two.
So, yeah, I'd shout out Slam Academy. They're pretty awesome.
Sick.
Yeah, that's cool. It's cool to have options like that because, I mean, a lot of people learn in different ways, and like it's nice that all that stuff's on YouTube, but if you can't like just ask someone a question, sometimes what is like a 3-minute problem can take you weeks to solve on your own. So like those sort of spaces where you've got groups of people together solving problems and learning together it's really cool. And that they have them now for like DJing or learning Ableton or like even mid or advanced Ableton is sweet because I think like when I ripped my first copy, like that would have just been unheard of. Like, there weren't that many people, but now people, I don't know. Yeah, it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
What has been the experience of like the shows here? And I guess you've been to just a couple of our shows here, but for those who don't know, we invited DJ Craig to open up for Bad Sandy at the last show at the What's Up Lounge this last weekend. And so we had Kazungu, Craig, and Melon Farmer and Bad Sandy. And so you were able to link us, Bad Sandy and Melon Farmer, through Slam Academy as well. So you kind of knew some of those folks. And
Yeah, through my dad.
Oh, yeah. Go for it.
Yeah, my dad and I were at a Dead Mouse concert at the Armory, and we split up, and he texted me a few minutes later that he ran into a DJ, which of course he does.
Yeah.
And he sent me Bad Sandy's Instagram, and I followed her, and they just like talked the whole concert, and it's a crazy coincidence. And then I just kind of moved on, but I had still followed her. So when you reached out about the show and that you were looking for headliners, I was looking through my follow list, and I found Bad Sandy again, and yeah,
Cool.
it worked out.
Yeah, that's awesome. She was great, and she played a really neat like house techno set. I think she'd probably describe it more as like techno. I don't know exactly what words she uses.
I felt
such
it
a
was
good
for
DJ.
me.
Melodic techno.
I was it was one of my favorite ever sets.
Cool.
I wish that I wish that we had more techno, because I love techno.
Yeah. We've done, so 2 of our shows, we threw one house show when we first started doing the What's Up Lounge ones, and we had Patrick come play, somebody named Patrick. And
When you
somebody
say house show, do you mean the genre or a
Genre.
show at a house?
genre,
Okay.
yeah, at the What's Up
Oh,
Lounge.
was it that like DJ Birdman guy?
No, I don't think so.
Bird dude.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a question there. I guess what's been your like just quick experience in pulling up to the shows and opportunity for the scene here? Like, what's interesting you? What's like cool? What's not? I don't know.
I'm just so impressed by how much stuff you guys have. Like the lasers, fog machines, lights, cameras, you had the whole lighting set up through Ableton,
Yeah.
which I didn't even know you could do until you showed me. So I've been wanting to look into that, and just pressing like the smoke machine and changing the lights and stuff. That's been my favorite part, besides like actually DJing.
Oh yeah.
Cool. That I started DJing and then got really into that part because I was like, oh, this feels kind of the same as the DJ part, but there's like no one's doing this part. So it's kind of a way to contribute.
It is. I mean, DMX is like a different, like it's in terms of like all of the things I've ever helped with, I would say DMX is the one that has like the most like the short learning curve headaches on DMX are the worst, I would say.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to like setting up a production.
Lights are wild.
Yeah. And there's just like lots of there's lots of ways. Once you understand it, I don't think it's that bad, but I would say that I have like a 1 to 2% understanding of it.
Yeah. It's interesting like how much it takes to make one of those shows happen well, cuz like right away we started hosting at Red Rocks and they had some built-in venue lighting, but we encountered a problem was when we like moved the stage or something and did anything. It's like, how do you add this to the venue, or like are we just running it totally separate? Like, are we going to have our lighting guy be back up in the booth and then add some stuff down at the DJ booth or whatever? And so like over the last couple of years I've had the pleasure of being able to like problem solve through all these things. And
that was a whole nightmare though, like going through like a place that had been set up to do one thing and then like trying to like reverse engineer it into like maybe doing a second additional thing. I remember watching you on a scaffold just like being pissed off or like a little frustrated.
Yeah.
You sent me that time lapse of you guys setting up for the snow play tour. You said you were there for like 12 hours one day.
Yeah.
That's
Thursday,
insane.
Friday.
Yeah, and that's a whole other thing with sound. The sound for that is kind of nuts because of everything routing through a looper.
Yeah, we got to try and send like buses and to and from the mixer just to get it back into the looper.
So the looper's at the end of the chain?
Yeah, so the looper is an out, but it also has outs, like basically using the X32 as a sub mixer so that you can still EQ, compress, and do everything, and you don't just have one stereo feed. But it is like kind of confusing. We're going to try to figure out a better way to do it. Like if we can have 4 outs or something like that.
The example being like our guitar and bass and vocal mic for the looper run directly to the mixer and then are sent out on a single stereo bus back to the looper so that it can be looped in.
But what's interesting about that too is if, like say I'm playing guitar, I start the loop and then you're like, oh, the guitar's too quiet, and you turn it up. That loop that I already recorded, the guitar can't be turned up now.
Or
Unless
it'll
it was
record that automation if it was actually recording.
So that's why if we could figure out how to do it at its outs, it'd be better because you could actually physically turn up the guitar.
Yeah, it sounds like you just need an additional sub mixer.
Yeah, but we don't want, so there's that.
Yeah.
Important
feels
detail.
like a lot of like stage production and lighting and sound too. It's like problem solving within the constraints of like what you're trying to do or
whatever gear you have.
Like on Saturday after a Friday show, I was like, okay, what I need to do is I need to move the video switcher and the lighting controller and my visual controller up to the stage so I can do it all from the stage instead of being stuck in the booth. But then like because one of the pieces, my video feed that I was running into the video wall wasn't connecting before the show, I didn't have time to do any of that. And I just had to scrap that whole like move and still do it from the same booth as before. But like, that's good. I'm glad that I didn't rip all that stuff out of there and try and move it. That would not have worked well at all. But sometimes you're like, I got to solve this problem. And then like, it's got to go this way.
If only we had
It
like
either
an
works
intern.
or it doesn't.
You know, sometimes when I'm feeling unmotivated, I'll just be like, you know what I need to move my piano. Like, like I have zero inspiration, so I'll just put that against a different wall, and then I have to take everything apart and put it back together again, and no inspiration.
Depression cure.
Oh man.
Well, what's your summer plans for school and being in Mankato? You planning to hang around? You'll be back up in Lakeview, kind of Lakeview? It's Lakeview, right?
Just the Minneapolis area, yeah.
You can see lakes.
Yeah, you'll find some, a couple. Yeah, I'm gonna go back home to the Twin Cities. I hope Jake doesn't get mad at me for spoiling this, but we're trying to like be part of a tour for Bejalvin in the works. Like a few week-long shows a week of shows across the Midwest. We're trying to figure that out. If that doesn't happen though, you didn't hear from me. Yeah, definitely we just want to play more shows because we have to do everything remote when Jake is in Boston. So whenever we're together, we try to get the most out of it.
Yeah, just gas up Jake for a minute. Tell us about Jake, you know?
Yeah.
Like, how great is he?
Yeah. Hi,
Well,
Jake.
not me, not you're Jake.
Okay, I'll just give the rundown. Jake and I met in like elementary school. I think I met him in the bathroom or something, and he started talking to me. So that was funny. We've kind of been making like just learning how to make the music we want to make together for like a decade now. My first introduction to music production was when he got a Launchpad, like a Novation Launchpad. And at the time, the Launchpad covers on YouTube were huge, like the top-down angle where people would play like dubstep and stuff like that. We loved that. So he got an Ableton demo with his Launchpad. So we started like messing around in that. And then I bought FL Studio because of that. And then we realized we could make things really loud, and that was hilarious to us. And that's how like the SoundCloud started. And
When you say really loud, do you mean just like slamming the limiter?
yeah,
Oh.
just stuff that middle schoolers would find really funny.
I found it funny 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, we still do. That's still what we make. So I guess I can't really I can't use the middle schooler excuse.
But yeah, what's he doing?
Yeah, so he's at Berkeley right now, going for some kind of electronic music degree. I don't know. I don't listen to him. Yeah, he's seems like he's met some cool people out there, and I'm gonna try to visit over my spring break and see if we can do anything in Boston, which I've never been to the East Coast before, so
Hell yeah.
that'll be really cool.
Nice.
So, what does like a remote practice look like? Are you sending each other stems, or are you like on a Zoom call?
Yeah, it's all stems, Discord calls. We're still kind of figuring that out because this is his first year at Berkeley. So this is being separated is still kind of new to us. But yeah, it's a lot of stems. Like I'll just make something one day and send it to Jake, and he'll say, "That's pretty funny. Send me the stems." And then I'll send it to him, and he'll make it funnier. And yeah, that's pretty much how everything goes.
Hell yeah.
We got invited to do a URL show, like an online Discord show. Still not completely sure how that's going to work, but that's in March. So we're figuring out what we're going to do for that, but he's in Boston, so we're going to have to record our parts separately. So I guess that'll be a fun challenge to figure out how to record a show from opposite sides of the country and then edit it together.
Cool.
Yeah, that does sound like an adventure. Cool. Anything else in the works, or I think we should probably wrap this up before we
because we
go
have
too long.
Additional secret responsibilities.
I don't know if we're gonna do that one.
Oh,
But we'll see.
Let's see. I brought up the physical releases, the tour that may or may not happening, and may or may not be
Secret
happening,
tour.
may or may not be a secret that I may or may not have said without being supposed to say that. Let's see. we might go to Alaska and record a DJ set in a plane. Maybe that's an invitation we got.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, spoilers for that too. I'm leaking all the secrets. I mean, we're starting new music. We have an EP in the works that's more just like dubstep themed because it didn't really fit anywhere on the album because it didn't have the metal influence, but we just went for it, made it its own thing. We're working on more merchandise, bejalvin.bandcamp.com. That was so subtle, so smooth. Working on a mixtape that's totally different than an album because we said it is. There's probably more I'm forgetting, but yeah, we want to keep performing, keep making our loud, funny music, and keep meeting more people to collaborate with. That's our goal for our next album, is to collaborate with way more people, because we didn't realize how many people there are out there that are doing the like similar things to what we're doing, which feels really nice. We found the cybergrind community. Shout out to Big Money Cybergrind, the record label who we met a ton of people through, who was also doing our physical media.
cool.
Awesome. That's excellent. Well, check them out on Bandcamp. Bejalvin. That's Bejalvin.
Bejalvin. I had to think about it too.
Yep. Check them out. Friday. That's this Friday though, right?
Yeah, this Friday. I
It's
don't know when the
every Friday,
podcast is
right?
coming out.
I don't know if it's every Friday.
Every Friday is Friday.
Bandcamp
right?
Friday?
Yeah.
I think it's like a monthly or
Oh.
Yeah, they do.
I
on
don't-
Yeah, it's
occasion.
not every month. They
It's
announce
where
it.
they it's where they give all the royalties.
They
to
don't
the
take a cut.
creators. Yeah,
Oh.
they forego their cut. So it's a
Cool.
great day to support your bands and artists that you like on Bandcamp, which is also a great place to find like the records or cassettes or
Yeah,
like,
that's
things for
what
me.
we've done.
Cool.
Everything through Bandcamp has
Sweet.
been awesome for us.
Yeah, we've
And
had great luck
still
on there.
It's still on streaming too. Like you can just
Yeah.
type in
Yeah.
Bejalvin and
Right.
Yep, we're everywhere.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining us on the show, Calvin.
Yeah,
it was great to
Thank you.
chat.
I want a
Thanks so
pink
much for the
hat.
invite.
I want a pink Bejalvin hat.
We'll have to make more of those. We only made like 10 like a year ago.
Oh, okay. Well, when you make more, let me
Mhm.
know.
That's the one thing about Bejalvin my mom likes. It's the pink hat.
Yeah.
She wears it all the time.
And on that note, bye-bye.
the
Uh,